Before the start of this video, I just want to say I'm sorry. My audio didn't really work out this time. I just downloaded Windows 10 and it basically screwed all my settings, so I wasn't aware of this until after I recorded. Hello everyone, Ronin here, and I'm putting together a quick video about buffs to maybe give some information to you guys that you may not already know. One thing that you guys should all know is that every buff can be clicked off. Now, it may not seem like it's a big deal, but there are certain situations where clicking off your buff is really important. So if you click on, I'll just do Blood Weapon for now. If I do Blood Weapon, you can move over here and you can just right click it and it'll fall off. Now you can only do this with beneficial buffs. And where it comes in handy, off the top of my head, would be your regen. Let's say you're tanking and your healer casts regen on you and you're about to go do a pull. Well, you can just easily click it off instead of waiting for it to fall off. In most situations it shouldn't be too big of an issue, but if you're not ready for it, it can catch you off guard when you're tanking. Now another situation that could be useful for you, especially if you're playing a warrior, and I'm going to use the example of Bismarck EX. Now I save all my cooldowns for when you can actually damage Bismarck on the beginning of the fight. What I do is I save Berserk for that phase, but what happens, depending on how fast the DPS is in your group, you will find that you get pacified when you land and the ads are right there. So you could always click it off just as either you're about to get knocked off the back of Bismarck, and then your pacification will fall off accordingly. Or if you have your healer in your group, he's aware of what's going on, he'll probably remove pacify, but it's just another little tip to be able to play effectively. Especially if you play like me and you don't have flash on your bar. This is like the only situation or use flash, but I'd rather just deal with it. Just because you can't use provoke in that specific situation, because it's very different than other cases. I would normally just use provoke or brutal swing, but for that instance you may actually do a tank swap right after, so that could cause a bit of an issue depending on how hard the other tank hit his ad. Another situation you can find removing a buff useful is Blood for Blood. So Blood for Blood will give you increased damage dealt. You also take more damage. Now, one situation that this will definitely come in handy is when you're raiding. And I've seen a lot of Dragoons or any DPS class, like cross-class skill, Blood for Blood, often die from this. They pop Blood for Blood and they just keep going on their damage, and then they just try to push more damage, and all of a sudden there's an AoE coming, or they get targeted by a fireball or something. So the same thing, just easily just click it off. It sucks because yes, you just used your a damage increasing buff, but sometimes it's just something you have to do in order to live. It's better to live than to die because you're taking 15% more damage in this case. Don't know if there's anything else to talk about for these. If you know of anything, let me know. Just remember, this only works for buffs that are beneficial. The debuffs, you would call them, for negative buffs, poison or silence, those can't be clicked off. Like pacification, you can't click that off. Now you might notice, okay, I have Blood for Blood up. I've noticed also, real quick, that certain buffs, now it won't affect anything in combat, but it might affect something if you got a Q pop and you just use a cooldown on a target dummy. If I use Berserk and we just covered pacification, I can't remove pacification. Now if I go to, I think it's Dark Knight, his Blood Weapon is still on cooldown because I use Berserk. Now Blood Weapon will be on cooldown for as long as, I don't know if you can look there, it says recast 40 seconds, but now it's on the Berserk timer. So just be aware of that if you're queuing into a dungeon or something and you're wondering, why is that on cooldown? I thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I keep releasing videos as fast as I can to try to put some tips out there for helping newcomers. And on that, have a good night, guys.